Welcome back, y'all, to Outside the Box Financials. All right, today we're going to go over the due date and a statement date because previously in the past I did not understand this, and there might be some of y'all out there that don't understand it. So I'm here to try to clarify things because I did watch previously a bunch of videos on this to identify what I can do with my credit cards to help me out previously. And it took me a while to understand it. Eventually I got it. But let's go. All right, what is the due date? Due date is basically just the payment date or the day you have to make payment, and if you don't make it, it's a late fee. Right? Statement date is just documentation when the monthly activity is complete, and then they send you a document stating everything you've done throughout the month and what you're going to be charged interest on, when your due date is, when the statement closed, and so on. Make it easier, here's one of my statements to help out. Right, you got the statement closing date, which this one was August 29th, 2022, and then you got the payment due date, which that one was September 23rd, 2022. So previously I thought, hey, you just make a payment on the payment due date, you get charged no interest. In order to get charged no interest, you have to ensure that, right, you pay off the whole balance on the credit card. Meaning, if you went to your bank, you saw you had a balance on it, right, you had to pay it off. But as we go on, you'll see how come I didn't understand the difference between the payment and the statement date. Right? All of you get statements from your bank, or from your bank, and if you have a credit card from them, you'll get it. You'll see something like this, and sure, you look at it because each credit card is different, and the way they calculate interest and also the grace period, it might be different than how I have how mine is. All right, so right here it says paying interest and your grace period, and the main thing I want to see out of this is we will not charge you any further interest if you pay your entire new balance by your payment due date. Okay, if you pay your entire new balance by your payment due date. So let's check this out. I got two of my statements, right? April and May of this year. All right, this one closed in April 28th, 2023, and the new balance was $78.35. Right, we're looking at a payment due date of May 23rd, 2023. So let's go to my next statement, which the statement closing date was May 29th, 2023. The next month, we got the previous balance of $78.35, which was the new balance when the April statement came out. And I made a payment of $100, which satisfied the paying off of that new balance, which, as you can see here, the interest charge was $0. But something, get it, interesting happened. Right, I had during May, right, or after the statement closing date in April, which was a couple of days, and then all of May, well, up to May 29th, I made new purchase of $9,539, and I wasn't charged interest. And it's because I satisfied that $78.35 with that $100 payment, which which satisfied the instructions that the bank gave, which I showed you earlier, so that way I don't get charged interest, which is interesting. Okay, so now that new balance becomes, right, the $9,386. That new balance now becomes what I got to pay for the next statement. But, right, there are strategies to pay that and also to utilize it, which is for another video, which I'll show you how to pay that down, but also still be able to use it for expenses and so on. Alright, so but what do I have now? Right, now let's say that the new purchases, alright, let's say I made no new purchases, right? So the balance was $0. So if I made no new purchases, then the new balance would be 0. Well, just like I said, I just repeat myself, but would be 0. So if that is 0, then that means my next payment, right, I would have to pay 0. I would pay 0 because there's no new balance. So that means, right, I can max out the card next month, not be charged interest because there's no payment to be made and it's already satisfied. But after that month, I would have to pay back if I did max out that card. Right? So this is how you can work your credit card in your favor and so on and help you out. Especially with like discretionary stuff like vacations and other things like emergencies. But again, review your statement and see what it says because some cards are different and some grace periods can not factor in, but qualify something different than what mine was what requirements I needed to satisfy not paying any interest. For instance, I had this one guy, his bank gave him a statement which I looked at, but it didn't say nothing about the grace period, or it's very hard to find, or maybe I just didn't know where it was. And then I looked online, couldn't really find nothing, so it seemed like his bank was maybe being shady. I don't know. Maybe he just left it out so that way he could be charged interest. But it was kind of weird. Alright, but always remember to improve your mindset because that'll set the tone for everything else. I didn't have this previously, and I thought I could just learn the tools and strategies and be good to implement it. But if you don't have that mindset, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to implement it because your mindset is thinking not like the 1%, right? It's thinking like others who are having time managing their finances. So thank y'all for joining me. Y'all have a good one, and I'll talk to y'all later.